Okay. Good afternoon, LEC community. Thank you so much for joining us today for our virtual career fair for aspiring and current Latinx education professionals. My name is Edgar Palacios, founder of the Latinx Education Collaborative, and I'm here with our Chief Community Officer, Susana Elizarraz. Hey, Susana, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. It's a Friday afternoon, although it feels like a Monday afternoon, and although it feels like a Tuesday afternoon, so it's all good. We're here with I got to say this, one of my favorite people in the entire world, John Heil with Citizens of the World Charter Schools. How are you doing, John?
Very good, Edgar. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and jump into our questions. So tell us a little bit about Citizens of the World.
Sure. Citizens of the World is a public charter school in Kansas City, Missouri. Currently, we are planning to serve K through 5th grade next year, as well as 6th and 7th grade at our middle school. Total enrollment for next year will be about 550 students. This is the school's 5th year. The school is part of a national network with the Citizens of the World's schools out of Los Angeles, California. And so we're very pleased and proud to be part of that network. And we also are very appreciative of the support that brings.
That's great, John, and really good to hear. I know being a network of schools is really unique and actually helpful in a lot of ways, and that's good to know. My question for you is, how do you currently or plan to support Latinx educators or professionals that come into your schools?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm really glad you asked it. It's been something that's been on my mind. So I have been in the role of executive director since August, and one of the things that I've really been tasked with is taking what is already a really positive and productive work environment and working to improve that. And the ways that we have identified to do more for our teachers are in the areas of professional development. We want to make sure that we're offering teachers the chance to self-direct their professional development. We believe teachers know best what kind of support and assistance that they need to become masters of their craft. I think that's something that we're doing. I think the other piece is, I would say, I guess not to be flippant, but I think that in terms of being a great place to work, like, we're not there yet. And I think that while on the surface that may be disqualifying for some people, I think the teachers we're looking for are teachers that are willing to come in and work with us to help us improve the way that CWC operates, with the goal of making CWC and the teaching experience there the very best teaching experience in Kansas City. So I think that for your question regarding Latinx educators, I would invite anyone and everyone who's interested to come and be part of that conversation. It's a conversation that's happening right now with our national partners, with our board of directors, with our senior staff at CWC, because we do want CWC to reflect our community, to be a place that diversity is not just valued, but really essential to the work that we do every day with kids.
I appreciate that response, John, and I would be remiss if I didn't do a shout out to Miguel Meneses, who I think serves on your board as well.
He does.
Somebody who I admire from afar, and when I get to talk to him. Tell us a little bit about the job openings that are available for next year.
Sure, happy to. So as I said, CWC next year will add 5th grade and 7th grade. So we have the exciting opportunity to add to our team. So we are hiring for 7th grade. So our middle school curriculum is a little bit different. We use a blended approach, and we combine science and social studies into a curriculum that we call courses, where students have a chance to take big, meaty social issues and learn the science behind them, but also the social studies and the society impact that they have. For instance, one of the projects that our kids did this year is they took on global warming, and they learned, of course, the science behind global warming and how it happens and what the issue is. But they also learned about what global warming will mean to our world, to our nation, to our community, and the impacts that might have. And I love this story because our kids got so fired up about this that they decided they were going to do podcasts. So every one of our 6th graders participated in groups of 3, and they all broadcast podcasts about global warming and shared what they've learned. And so we have an opening next year for our 6th grade courses. The gentleman who's teaching our 6th grade this year is moving into 7th grade. So we have an opening in that class. I think that's a fantastic chance to really have a teaching experience that allows professionals to be creative to help us build new systems. This is only the second year the middle school has been in operation. So anyone who comes in is going to have a chance to really be part of the founding team and really building that out. But again, with the courses opportunity, it's also a chance to, I think, try new things and bring new aspects of education to the classroom. So we have that opening. We also have openings at our elementary school. This year we had tremendous teacher retention. Our folks are coming back really in record numbers, which is fantastic. But we do have openings at first grade. We have an opening at third grade, and then we obviously are adding fifth grade. So we have several openings in the upper elementary. So we're very excited about that. Again, it's a chance, I think, to join a school that is progressive in the way that we view education, but is also progressive in the way that we view the relationships that teachers have and the role they have within the school. It's certainly not a top-down environment. We really want teachers to be at the table and to be part of the decision-making process at CWC.
John, that's exciting to hear that the people who take on those positions will be part of that the idealistic table and making sure that the school is forming and growing in a way that's good for kids and for their families and community. I appreciate that. So further along with that, you've talked a little bit about how your teachers and your candidates should be open-minded to that. What are some other qualities and skills that teachers and candidates should consider before applying for CWC?
Yeah, I think that's, we talk a lot at CWC about this idea of earned autonomy. When teachers demonstrate to us that they're effective teachers, that they're great educators in the classroom, we really give them a tremendous amount of freedom in the classroom to construct lessons as they see fit or as their class needs. We certainly have a model and we have a prescribed approach to education, but we do want to make sure that we respect the professionalism and just the sheer talent that educators have. And giving them the space to work and really try new things, to try different ways to connect with their kids. I think something that is not unique to CWC, but it is something that we lift up, is that our school is really centered around the importance of relationships between kids and their teachers. I think that what we've seen over the last 6 weeks, as challenging as it has been to translate our model into an online virtual format, perhaps the biggest challenge that our families have talked about with us is the fact that their kids, for 8 months, built these amazing relationships with their teachers and other adults in our school, and now they don't have that. They don't have the relationships with their teachers. They don't have the relationships with their friends. And again, like that's sad to hear. Like that affects me, and it makes me feel, like I can't wait until we can get our kids back. But I also really believe that it's a testament to the intentionality and the work that our teachers do to build personal relationships with every kid in our school. And I think that is something that comes from our model. It is something that is ascribed by our national partners, and it is something that really is infused into the DNA of our school.
I appreciate you sharing that, John, and very well stated. Before I ask you some follow-up questions, I just really want to bring the screen into the shot here. If you are interested in engaging LEC community, if you're interested in engaging with citizens of the world, charter schools, make sure to follow them on their social media accounts listed here. We will be posting the job opportunities links available in our comments, as well as a form for you to fill out if you're interested in connecting with John as well. So we'll be able to facilitate those introductions and make sure that you get ahead of the curve, so to speak, when it comes to being a candidate here. John, I would be remiss if I didn't bring your experience as a school board president of a local district here, which I think really has influenced your commitment to equity. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and your own experience as you lean into being a more equitable and frame your conversations from an equitable perspective?
Well, I think I would just say first that I think like a lot of people, the questions around equity, questions around DEI, those are something that are just an ongoing journey for me. I think it's something that I really view as part of my growth as a human being. So I think I love that I am routinely challenged by our community to think about things differently and to cast aside old perceptions and look at things in a different way. I will tell you that my service on the school board was unique and interesting. I think I learned more about leadership and certainly more about both equity, I think, but also about the history of racism and the way that it has played out in Kansas City by serving in that role than I ever have before. And obviously, as a person of privilege, that's something that's not an opportunity that I had prior to that. And so I think for me, that was a really meaningful and important part of that service. It is certainly humbling, and I think in many ways, even as as an older 30-year-old or 38-year-old when I was on the board, it really changed the way that I view equity and race in Kansas City, and I think I still continue to reflect on that experience in my daily work at CWC.
No, and I appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable to share that, because you and I have had a lot of conversations around this, and I've always seen you commit to learning and commit to taking whatever information you're bestowed with and putting implementing it into action and learning more about it. So I appreciate your commitment to that. So are there any other things that we may have missed that you want to kind of highlight about CWC?
Sure. Well, a couple of things I'll mention. One is on our website that you posted earlier. Thank you for sharing that. But there's a chance to go on there and you can hear brief interviews, about 2 minutes, with some of our families, some of our staff that talk about their experience at CWC. And so certainly would encourage anyone who's interested in a career with us to go and watch some of those videos, because I think they really encapsulate our staff and just the amazing people that work at CWC. I think they encapsulate our families and just the breadth of diversity and I think really interesting folks that are part of the CWC family. But I think that would be a great way for people to learn more about the school. And I would also say, again, I just want to highlight the fact that CWC, we are a learning organization. We are not a static organization. We are trying to be better every day. This is not a school that you're going to come to where you're going to be given a manual about how to teach. We want to be a partner for teachers in that journey. We believe that just as diversity is important in the people you hire, it's also important to understand that different teachers have different ways to effectively educate kids, and not every teacher is going to implement the same strategies. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're supportive and able to ensure that teachers have what they need to implement their strategy effectively.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, John. Well, we appreciate your time so much. Thank you for participating in our virtual career fair with our community. We will be, hopefully, if you are interested, again, in communicating with CWC, feel free to fill out that form that we've posted on the link, and then the job opportunities are available on our comments as well. So, John, thank you again so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
Susanna and Edgar, thank you for having me, and thank you for the work you're doing. Just to give you a plug, I think the work that LEX has done over the past few years to represent this growing percentage of educators that are Latino is among the most important work that's being done in Kansas City right now. So thank you both for what you're doing and for lifting this up and for helping us build a better ecosystem for all kids.
Thank you, John. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John. Have a great rest of your day.
Good, thank you.